When we study the concept of a commodity, we are not just examining it as an isolated term. Along with the commodity, there are related concepts like commodification and commodity fetishism that must also be understood. These terms, rooted in Marxist theory and political economy, are explored in cultural studies as part of a broader framework. For example, commodification refers to the process associated with capitalism, where various aspects of culture and life are increasingly influenced by market forces. Commodity fetishism, as defined by Karl Marx, describes how the surface appearance of goods in the market obscures the labor and exploitative relationships involved in their production. A commodity is something available for sale in the market. However, for something to become a commodity, it must be exchanged in the market. Commodification is the process by which capitalism transforms cultural and social spheres into market driven entities. Commodity fetishism, on the other hand, reveals how the true origins of goods embedded in labor and exploitation are hidden from view, leaving us focused solely on the product's surface appearance. To understand the commodity in depth, we need to revisit Marx's seminal work Capital. Marx starts his analysis not with grand theories but with the basic unit of economy, the commodity. He explains that every commodity has two kinds of value: use value and exchange value. Use value refers to the utility or function of an object. For example, a pen's ability to write or a piece of clothing's ability to keep us warm. Exchange value, on the other hand, relates to the worth of an object in trade or in the marketplace, such as exchanging a piece of clothing for food in a barter system or for money in the modern economy. Interestingly, a thing can have use value without being a commodity if it's in the market. For example, you might create something purely for personal use, giving it utility without bringing it to the marketplace. This distinction between use value and exchange value is central to understanding commodities in Marx's framework. Once commodities enter the marketplace, their social production relations become obscured. This is the essence of commodity fetishism. He explains that the labor and processes involved in creating a product are hidden, and the commodity itself appears to have a life of its own. This phenomenon transforms objects into subjects and subjects like workers into objects. For example, the price of a commodity seems to be natural attribute of the object rather than a result of human labor and market forces. This masks the exploitation of workers and the unequal distributions in capitalist systems. When we look at a commodity in a store or marketplace, we see only its surface appearance. The commodity does not reveal the labor conditions under which it was made, whether workers were paid fairly or whether those workers can even afford to use the product they helped create. The glossy, appealing exterior of the commodity hides the exploitative relationships and inequalities of the production process. In cultural studies, commodities are analyzed within this framework of political economy, considering concepts like false consciousness, reification, ideology, hegemony, and commodity fetishism. These terms are interconnected and provide a comprehensive lens through which to study the commodity beyond its economic function. W. F. Hogg's essay, Critique of Commodity Aesthetics, explores the role of aesthetics in the commodification process. The visual appeal of a commodity, its beauty or aesthetic value, is deliberately crafted to attract consumers. The commodity is not just a functional product. Its aesthetic qualities make it desirable, further obscuring the labor and exploitation behind it. This focus on surface beauty reinforces the process of fetishism as the object becomes more about its appearance and less about its origins. Commodities are things that catch our attention, stay in our memory, and are often desired by everyone. Advertisements play a huge role in making us believe that commodities are not only things everyone wants, but also things everyone has always wanted. The way products are marketed is designed to make us feel that our lives are incomplete or less successful if we don't own these commodities. Cultural studies helps to explore and reveal the meanings embedded in these products, showing how they influence us. For example, a cigarette advertisement might suggest that smoking makes you successful, portraying a lifestyle that many aspire to. Cultural studies also highlights how power politics and economics shape our cultural practices. We do not simply choose what we want as free agents. These choices are influenced by larger forces such as advertising that shape our desires and define success. For example, commodities, especially those heavily advertised, can dominate our lives and shape our identities. If we are not careful, these products may become so powerful that they define not only our success but even our reason for existing. When we talk about the design and production of commodities, two main factors are involved: utility, how useful and functional the product is, and aesthetics, how it looks. Over time, the design of commodities changes to create new presentations. Advertisements constantly evolve, backed by research into consumer psychology and preferences to make products more appealing. This continuous change results in new identities for consumers. As the design and production of commodities evolve, they create new meanings, which in turn create new identities. When these new identities become saturated, the cycle starts again, modifying designs and creating fresh representations and meanings. This process is not one sided. Once new identities are created and consumed, they influence how much people are willing to buy. If a new identity resonates with people, it leads to increased consumption, which then feeds back into the design and production of commodities. This creates a circular process where design changes lead to new meanings, which shape consumer identities and the level of consumption that influences the production and design of new commodities. The cycle repeats, constantly evolving. This process of commodification does not just apply to objects, it extends to people, values, and even qualities. Everything can become commodified in a capitalist system. This means we live in a world where everything from products to human qualities and ideas is treated as something to be bought or sold. Commodification has become so powerful that it shapes every aspect of life. Theorists like Adorno have pointed out that when commodities are mass produced, it leads to standardization, conformity, and even authoritarianism. In this system, producers have power over consumers, and people become passive recipients of the products and identities created for them. This leads to a loss of individuality as people conform to the standardized cultural norms promoted by mass culture. Critics also argue that working class culture, because it is outside the mainstream of mass culture, may be more authentic. Unlike the shallow, surface level culture created by commodities, working class culture is rooted in labor and is closer to nature, making it more genuine and dignified. Commodity culture is often seen as shallow and superficial, focusing more on appearance and aesthetic values than on meaningful human experiences. Barker critiques the commodification of culture, emphasizing that it not only shapes cultural meanings but also turns people into commodities. For example, the beauty and diet industries promote a specific body type as the ideal, creating a cultural norm that women are expected to conform to. This norm is reinforced by the sale of products like diet plans, exercise equipment, and beauty products. However, these industries often present contradictory messages. While they promote the ideal of a slender body, they also offer foods and diets that are low in calories, creating a paradox. This paradox extends to the way consumerism is framed as a moral and physical challenge, where self control and discipline become central to the commodified cultural experience.